Thank you everyone. I know it's before lunch. I hope I help your appetite with what I'm going to present to you. We just handed out some bookmarks with links to some of the projects I'm going to discuss about. So this is the work I'm going to show you, and the results actually are funded by the European Union through the Erasmus Plus program, and some related work that is under development or is going to start soon. I will be mentioning so you know what is coming up. Whatever we produce is available as resources for free, and of course we'll be happy to see more people using it, especially the STEAME School of the future that we design, which of course the way we design is very expensive, but because we don't going to build it ourselves, we didn't pay attention to that, but it's up to any individual who wants to build such a school to invest. Anyway, I'm going to start with this statement of what Einstein said that is very important, that imagination is more important than knowledge. And what we're going to do now is actually imagine the future. Why? Because we try to imagine things in 20 or 30 years without knowing the technologies that we're going to have in 20, 30 years. We don't know what technologies we're going to have. Even technologies we use today, we mentioned them in the 90s. People may smile on us, right? In the 90s, we would never imagine having a smartphone talking to each other without a cost in reality. So, but nowadays it's part of our life. So many things we use today as part of our lives, technology-based, we couldn't imagine 30 or 40 years ago. So imagine trying to imagine the future now with today's technology. It's impossible, but imagination helps. So in order to understand the future, we have to study the past. And what do I show you here? It's a comparison between two photos of classrooms with 100 years of difference. What do you see difference? Besides the color and maybe some screens, basically we see the same classroom structure for the last 100 years. And it was mentioned earlier in the discussions in this group. We have a problem, right? We need to change. Some years ago, in the 50s, if you wanted to have a classroom with air conditioning, the only way was to have an open-air classroom. Of course, nowadays, things are much better in some schools, in some areas, that have even air conditioning and cooling. If you remember, some of us of my age, maybe, portable blackboards on wheels, so you could move your classroom lecture into the library if you wanted. That was the portability of those years in the 60s. But nowadays, of course, portability, we see tablets. I had the opportunity to visit the Samsung High School in South Korea some years ago, where there were no books, no handbags for kids. Everything was in that tablet, and no schooling after 5 o'clock. That's another story. But anyhow, when we say education 1.0, the characteristics are usually what we experienced up to the early 90s when internet appeared and when the first email communication started, more or less, and some real, let's say, technology started to appear in the classrooms. Up to that point, everything was authoritarian, as we say. They were teaching in classrooms, and a student would go to school without even speaking at all. Things have been changing, of course, and Education 2.0 is really more or less what most of the countries are having today. In every country, we have Education 2.0, of course. This is what we have today. There is some improvement, of course, with characteristics of 3.0. We did a study in the STEAME project where we check what is happening around the world. We have seen schools without classrooms. We have seen public schools starting to demolish walls to make bigger rooms. We're talking about the idea of project-based learning, right? Not the traditional learning. We will comment on this in a moment. So Education 2.0 starts to have some characteristics. I'm going to go a little bit fast on this because I also have animation videos, which I will skip. because I have 80 slides to show you, but mostly it's pictures, and I know lunch is coming. So some of the characteristics that we start to cooperate a little bit, but there is a full confusion of technology. Teachers don't know what technology to use. The students start to know more than them, better than them, the technologies. By the time the teachers learn to use the technology, it becomes obsolete, or they don't have a license, or they don't have the speed they need on internet, etc. Problems. The problem also is that we cannot keep training teachers forever. Because by the time you train a teacher, the technology is obsolete. And then you have to start over again. So more or less what we're trying to do, and we have another project on this, that we developed what the skill that the teacher needs, one basic skill and competence to be able to adapt to change by himself or herself. We cannot keep training teachers on all competences. They only need one competence: adapt to change. And if you find that the competence framework that gives you this skill, and you prepare your teachers with this ability, you don't need anything else. Okay, Education 3.0 is what we see in some countries already, some schools, I would say, but here we see that the teacher, because we want to talk about student-based learning in the sense that we are interested more into learning than teaching. So we should talk more about learning. I mean, we see schools and universities talking about teaching hours. No. We should be talking about learning hours. This is more important. Huh? We should talk about teaching. No, teachers should not be called teachers anymore in the future. They are facilitators of learning, or even co-creators in Education 4.0. So we are facilitating the learning of the students. We're not teaching them. And you know, I've been fighting with myself on this, but there are people who believe that by the 2050, there might be even no schools. They talk about learning communities. And you know what is the problem I was trying to figure out myself? What will happen if we don't change? Someday, the kids will say, I don't want to go to school. Why? I can learn better from this machine and faster than wasting my time in front of you in the classroom. You are not changing. I can learn faster than you. So what do you do in that case if students refuse to come to school? Say, if you want to know that I'm learning, give me a test. Okay, so we have to adapt to the students. And if you want to see how to train, teach, or facilitate the learning of students, just watch them, what they do after school until the time they go to sleep. And then you will discover the best way to help them learn. So what do we need them? What do teachers going to be doing? You have to help them understand and develop competences on how to apply knowledge. This is the future, how to apply knowledge. So knowledge is easily receivable, is easily found, retrieved, because you teach it in March and you taught something in October, the student says, I don't remember this. I need to rediscover, relearn it. How are they going to, are you going to teach them again? There's no time. So what do you do in that case? Bring your own device, another project where we develop all the learning lectures into videos, have them ready in different speeds of learning and accessible to everyone, anytime, any place, through this machine. So, Education 4.0 that really doesn't exist anywhere is co-creation and innovation in the center, whenever, wherever, flipped classroom in full application, hybrid learning environments, interactive practical exercise, and then what? You have more time to help those in need. Because where is the mixed ability supported? 20 years ago, I have seen in Austria classrooms where there were two teachers, one working with the average and weak students, and one working with the average to talented students. So you need to support that. But you don't have the time now. The curricula are overloaded. Teachers say, we don't have time. Students say, we don't have time. We need private tutoring. We need support. Development of personalized teaching and learning. Learning plans are now called learning and creativity. We don't talk about lesson plans, because we don't want to do a lesson. We talk about learning plans and learning and creativity plans, because this is what we're doing. We're facilitating the learning. We're not doing lecturing in schools, and we should not. So the technology should be free, and it will be free in the future. Increased use of virtual reality, artificial intelligence. We all know what is happening to us. Artificial intelligence is taking over. Europe is talking about deficiency in artificial intelligence experts. They're talking about deficiencies in microelectronics experts. Where is this? All our life is becoming or is supported by artificial intelligence. So we have another project I will mention that we start designing how to teach artificial intelligence in schools. But first you have to train teachers. Continuous evolution and innovation, and therefore a need for development. But let me move fast. So no more lesson plans, learning plans in 3.0, and eventually learning and creativity plans. In this project, we created learning and creativity plans on the project-based activity. If you go to the website, if you go to the QR I gave you, you will find the STEAME Observatory. In the STEAME Observatory, you will find learning and creativity plans ready-made for use by teachers on two age levels, grade 7 to 9 and grade 10 to 12. You will find them all there. You will find videos. You will find training for teachers. You will find videos. You will find the future school videos that I'm going to show pictures of it today. And of course, we develop guidelines of STEAME school organization structure. What can you do to existing schools, and what do you need to do if you build a new school in the future? What has to look like? So these are the outputs. They are available for free, of course, at the website to download. They are also available in different languages other than English. This is another output, guidelines for STEAM activities in schools for 2 age groups, available in English, Polish, Italian, Bulgarian, and Greek. And some handouts, handbooks for teachers. This is a template of how to, of a learning and creativity plan. We have empty templates in 5 different languages. We also have a model, a protocol on how at least 2 teachers work together. Because if you want to do project-based learning, you need to mix sciences, technology, engineering, arts, mathematics, etc., entrepreneurship also. So you need to have at least a cooperation between 2 teachers. So this is a model of how 2 teachers can work together in supporting a group of students working in projects. This can be found also in the publications. We also have an evaluation rubric on different criteria that you can use when you assess students working in projects. So you assess them for what they deliver. We assess them for what they create. You don't give them a test whether they know 1 + 1 makes 2. That's easily accessible and found on the internet. What they cannot find in the internet is the creativity they need to have, the skill, the competence. And we have fully completed analytics here as an example. If you don't find them, you write to me an email and I will send you all links you need. We also develop a training course for teachers with about 10 modules. We ran this and it's going to be available in Thessaloniki in end of June during the Euromath and Euroscience conference. Euromath and Euroscience conference is the only international conference for pupils. The pupils become presenters, researchers like. They publish work. We also have a STEAME journal for students. They can publish their project work if they want to. So this is the journal for students where they can publish the work of projects. Okay, some survey. What I say is not my ideas only. We did a survey through the project. We did focus groups activities. We talked with experts, and we got the ideas from many Europeans. I'm just showing some results. The classroom layout should be aligned with the outcomes of STEAME and blended learning. You can see the majority agrees to that statement. The classroom furniture has to be movable in order to enhance layout flexibility. You can see the positive reactions. Achieve blended learning. The STEM classroom should be part of flexible infrastructure, an open space interior design, a large room, etc. The classroom should be purposefully designed for STEAM activities. We're talking about project-based activities. So let me skip a little bit and go to architecture designs and animation. I'm not going to show animations. You can visit the website. You can click on the videos there. You can see them. This is the design, and we adapt to nature. Nature are the bees, right? These are the cells of the bees' wall. So they are hexagons, and the hexagons can connect together to maximize area, right? So we design based on this. This is a 3-floor, 6 meters minimum height each floor. Now the new architects for schools, they talk about 10 meters high, so that you can even have the drones practice in the open spaces. But I will show you pictures inside. The top is an athletic field round, and there is also inside a train that is moving slow. But let me show you pictures. I have some animations also. But you can have full photovoltaics on top, so it's fully self-energy sustainable. And here are the laboratories in the basement. Of course, we cover all the laboratories on the basis of the technology we know today, but of course, this will be flexible. So there are main laboratories including virtual reality rooms, etc., and some other satellite laboratories on the first floor, so students can get what they need in order to, when they work on projects. Robotics is everywhere, of course, soundproof student meeting rooms, etc. And then, of course, in the very quiet floor, the ideas floor, as we call it, is the third floor. Open space, flexibility, movable furniture, co-creation, training, moving, a train moving, etc. But let me show you pictures, because pictures is saying everything sometimes. So these are the cross sections, including an athletic field which is open during the day for the students. Then in the afternoon it closes and it opens to the public, to the community, who can use the sports center and pay a fee, of course, and they sustain the cost for the students. So the students get the support. Of course, we keep amphitheaters, but not too much for lecturing. What do we have the amphitheaters for? For the students to talk to students. The students, when they work to project, they need to communicate. And communication is very important. From many studies in Europe, we know that the employers, what are the employers looking in when they interview employees? Knowledge, which is our degrees, comes number 3. What is number 2? They look for competences and skills. Everyone was talking about competences and skills. But what is number 1? Communication. Communication is number. Why? Let me give you this example. If I know what this machine is doing, that's knowledge. If I know how to use it, that's skills, competence, skills. But nobody is going to hire me to sell this machine unless I can explain what it can do and how it works. That's communication, science communication. And we run competitions for students during the Euromath conference on science communication and mathematics communication. It's called Math Factor and Science Factor. Like the known X Factor, where people compete in front of a jury for dancing or singing. We don't do that. We do competition like this for kids, but instead of dancing or singing, they communicate mathematics and science. By the way, my background is mathematics, so I'm also the vice chair of the Education Committee of the European Mathematical Society. So we try to adapt to students as much as possible. So here is some pictures from inside. I have a video for sports. This is a new technology for sports. It's one field and can change with LEDs, then LED background lights into basketball field, into volleyball field, etc. Easily. But you can see the video on the website. Some laboratories in the basement. These are the learning centers, learning stations. What are the learning stations? Students work on a project, and they are monitored by teachers. And when the teachers realize that in order to proceed with the project, the students have to know Pythagoras' theorem. Or maybe they were supposed to know it, but they don't remember it. So what do you do? You tell the students, go to the learning stations, watch a video of Pythagoras' theorem, and come back knowing what is Pythagoras' theorem. And these videos will be available in 3 different speeds, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. So some people can do it in 15 with their ability, some students, some they need more time. And we have a separate project, you bring your own device learning, just developing that. And of course, we need learning rooms. In the learning rooms, the students are learning in groups. They go together to watch a video, the teachers come also, the facilitators come also, and they understand something they need to know before they apply it to the project. And of course, we see more spaces. This is the train I mentioned that is moving on 3 kilometers per hour around the building, and students can jump on it and work while they move on the train. We also have wagons which are sealed, closed, so it's going to be completely noiseless, but the train is supposed to be on a magnetic field, so it will be completely noiseless. These are the learning rooms from the outside. Learning stations, some more pictures. Oh, colors. With today's technologies, the students could come into school and see different colors every day. Different colors. You can change the color of the school every day. And the technology is there, as long as you have the money to invest. But things are getting cheaper. Something very important for the curriculum. We propose, and this is coming from other projects we have, and we propose solutions. You know, deaf people, they have to use the sign language. But one of the problems we have in the whole world is that each country has its own sign language. Even within the same country, from different regions, you can see different sign language. What does it mean? It means that deaf people cannot mobilize easily. If I go from Greece to Germany and I'm deaf, I cannot communicate because the German sign language is different from the Greek sign language. Even from Cyprus to Greece, that we're Greeks and Greeks, but we have differences. So there is a problem. But there is an international sign language that nobody's learning. So we propose, and we have developing technology animators to teach or self-learn the international sign language. We think and we believe that all students in the future, all people on this planet, through the school, one of the language they need to learn, besides the English, German, whatever, is the international sign language. Why? Because it's also useful for emergencies. Imagine someone behind a glass is in need, and you don't hear him, but he can give you a sign that he needs your help. There's a real story about this. About 3 years ago, 4 years ago, a kid was kidnapped in a car, and the kid was making a sign language to another driver from another car on the street, who happened to know the sign language, and he understood that the kid was in danger, and he called the police, and the kid was saved. Why? Because of the sign language. But if we make it international, we can all communicate without talking to each other. So this is an animation of the whole building, and you can find it on the website. And of course, how can we change current learning instructions in schools? There are 3 steps with what we know today. The first step is secure digital learning through learning videos created by teachers. Learning videos in 3 speeds. So every teacher can convert its lecture, let's say, into a video and have it sitting there and use it. Ask your students to see your tomorrow's lecture in the classroom if you want by watching the video before. And when they come the next day to school, just try to reflect on them if they manage to understand what you wanted to tell them today. This may help you save time, but it's also available in case of pandemics, that we were not ready for the case of pandemic. If all lectures were in videos sitting somewhere, we wouldn't have a problem with the pandemic. But this way will help us save time. Why we need to save time in teaching? To make more individual learning, give more individual learning to people who are weak in learning. Okay, and to have more time to spend on projects. Step 2, train teachers how to cooperate between different disciplines and how to develop. When we ask teachers to work in projects, to assign projects, they say, I'm a mathematician, I don't know biology. How can I do a project on biology applications of mathematics? So I need the biologists to work with me. But the teachers don't know how to cooperate. This was one of the problems. So you have to train teachers how to do it. And of course, the number 3 is create open spaces in current schools or build new schools with more open spaces. I know an architect who is a speaker of Education 2.0 in the United States version of this conference, who built schools in 52 countries, I think. And what they do, they just moving walls between classrooms and making open spaces. Okay, all these 3 steps together, let me skip it, we said that. So some of the running projects, we had a challenge because of the pandemic. We want project-based learning, but we had project-based learning in the classroom, face-to-face. What happens if some students cannot be there? So now we're developing a platform where students can do projects in a hybrid. Some students in classrooms, some students at home, some teachers at home, working with some teachers in classrooms. So we're trying to give a solution to that. This is all paid by the European Union. STEM goes hybrid. Then other projects, empowering schools, transition readiness, empower hybrid competence or online adaptable teaching. So we want to give competences to teachers to adapt to change, to adapt to the environment. This is what we're doing with these projects. Bring your own device, learning at any time, any place, via any device. We're developing actually the videos I mentioned earlier. Teach the future, environment, the Green Deal and green activities into the curricula. Excellence in math education through debate and diversity. Discussion and debate in the process of learning. We develop math theater, we develop science theaters, plays. We have European competitions on this. And the most recent, facilitate AI guidelines for facilitated learning of artificial intelligence by school students of grades 7 to 12. So we're just started this project on 1st of February. We're bringing the professors from the university experts on artificial intelligence to train the teachers, to teachers understand what is artificial intelligence, and then the teachers will design how to teach that to the students. This is very fresh. The approval came just last Monday when I was already in Dubai. We said, we're doing all these things for whom? For the students. But we don't ask the students. So we need to develop a network of students who are going to tell us what they want. We said we want to adapt to the students, but we're not asking the students. Okay, we're developing a network, a European STEAME network. We open a platform for them to communicate and make presentations to each other and develop a kick-off network with us having the role of mentors so we can hear from the students what they want. And you know something, the students are going to change the education, not us. Because if in 20 years from now, students say, I'm not going to school, I do homeschooling, and let's say 90% of the students do the same, what will happen if we keep the same schools? The students will close. Okay, STEM Teacher Facility Academy is a new proposal we're preparing for the next course, 7th of September. We develop a teacher academy platform at the European level where we will be supporting all this change. And of course, as I said, students are ready, we are not. This picture I stole it from Facebook, but look what the kids are doing. They don't have smartphones yet. But as soon as they get it, you know what they're going to do. So the kids are ready, we are not. The teachers are not ready, the professors are not ready, the parents are not ready. So one of the new proposals we just submitted was STEAME parents. We want to help parents understand STEAME education, etc. We invest in the development of competence and skills. The competences to discover, recall, and apply knowledge, and the competence to self-adapt to change in technology. This is the conference we do for students. We run this since 2009. We attract about 500 students from 25 countries every year. We had a problem with the pandemic, of course. We're coming back in end of June in Thessaloniki. Join us there. Together, at the same time, we have the European STEAME conference running at the same place for teachers, especially. So we'll be happy to see you there, and you will see many innovations there. More STEAM opportunities, okay? The European STEAM communication competitions. We have these competitions for students, for teachers who are interested to communicate STEAM subjects. Journalistic article competition. Students are asked to write an article about different topics about STEAM education. This is supported by the European Mathematical Society. Finishing soon, European Comic Poster Competition. STEM Summer Camp. We run a STEM Summer Camp in Cyprus in the villages in a nice hotel, if you're interested. And of course, these are the partners of the STEAM project. And subscribe to our newsletter, and you'll be receiving a lot of information. Thank you. Questions and answers.
Amazing. Thank you. Give him a round of applause, Mr. Gregory. Really informative, and I love it. I love the E at the end for entrepreneurship, but you had a lot of things. I'd like you to go back. People were taking pictures. There's an event coming in Greece. You guys want to see that again? Let's take it back to the before the camp. Where it is. There it is. Check out that link. Right? This event sounds really interesting. Maybe there's an opportunity for you to join. It'd be incredible to connect again with other people in Greece, one of the most beautiful countries on the planet if you haven't been there.
So the 5-star hotel,
Yeah.
with very good prices, and we run the full conference in that 5-star hotel.
5-star, awesome, and frappe. They like frappuccino. It's like a frappuccino coffee.
About 40 euro per person
night?
for the kids to stay. It's very good price.
Fantastic.
Double, triple rooms. Yeah.
And great weather. Great weather in Greece in June 27th. So great. So they have this event coming. Awesome. And then again, I know you had some other logos that you were sharing. There's that website, STAAME.eu. Grab that as well to get more information. All right, Mr. Gregory, I was calling you a doctor. You come across like a doctor, you know, all these doctors here. Thank you so much. How was that presentation? Good?
I hope
You guys liked it? Thumbs up. I think you did a great job. Well, worth it. You know, he has 80 pages to this presentation, by the way. So he gave you that, maybe even, 5% of that presentation. He has a lot of information. A lot of information. Thank you so much for joining us today. How's the event been for you?